I'm thinking maybe Dottie wants to go outside. That's just a wild guess. Just a wild guess. Where are you going, Dottie? Where are you going to go? Well, let's go this way this time. Let's go a different way. Let's go out where people will remember there was a sea of huge rigs out here. It looked like a little city. But guess what? They're gone. Big tent's over. The big rush is over. And there's a lot of peace and quiet out here. Travels with Dottie here. If you don't know that. That's Dottie, I'm Rob. And it's the last day of January 2025. The back half of the season. Been here since the middle of November. So 2.5 months. It's amazing how fast the time goes. And it's a nice brisk. It's in the 40s. But I'm dressed for the weather, so I feel pretty good about it. Look at those beautiful mountains out there. Just gorgeous. So I'm thinking, well, what's on my mind? I don't know what's on Dottie's mind, but she's sniffing something for a pretty long time. Find a new place to sniff. Here's a thing that's on my mind. You're going to hear this for a second time if you're one of those that is a frequent listener to my comment video. You'll hear this little story, but I think I've told it before. I tell it frequently because it's a kind of little parable that I find very, very useful in life. And it's readily applicable when people have like religious faith. Doesn't matter what flavor of religious faith it is, but the thing that my faith and my belief and my prayers will be all that I need in life. And sometimes I think people miss a little element of that I think is very important. That is illustrated by this kind of little story that I heard years ago to illustrate this point. It's about a man that is living in a little two-story house. He's lived in for years. He's devoutly religious. The religion doesn't matter. He believes deeply that his faith in God carries him through life. And no matter what happens, God will serve him and take care of him, especially in times of peril. Well, one day, the river near his house flooded, and the floodwaters were approaching his lawn. And some police officers knocked on the door and said, "Sir, we're here to evacuate you. The floodwaters are dangerous, and you need to leave." And he smiled and graciously said, "No, thank you. I'm not worried about the floodwaters. I'm not worried about me because I have my faith in God and God will take care of me." And the officer said, "Okay. You know where we are when you need us." They leave. Then the next day, the floodwaters get into his house, into the first floor. So he calmly and quietly moves himself and his belongings to the second floor. Now on the second floor, on the second day, he sees a boat with local firefighters in it. They come up to his house and they're opposite a window. He raises the window and they said, "Sir, we're here to rescue you." And he again politely says, "Thank you so much, but I have my faith in God and God will take care of me." And he sends them on their way. And of course, you know what's coming. The floodwaters come to the second story, and he ends up with great difficulty climbing out to the roof. And he's on the roof. The floodwaters continue to rise, and a helicopter comes. I think it was a Coast Guard helicopter with one of those baskets, and they say, "Sir, get in the basket and we will rescue you and take you to safety." And he again politely declined and said, "God will take care of me." And they leave. And the floodwaters engulf the house completely. And he drowns and dies. He goes to heaven. And he's welcomed with the open arms, with love in heaven. But the first thing he said was, "I need to see God. I need to see God right away." And they said, "Of course." And he meets God. And God says, "How are you, my son?" He said, "Well, I'm pretty upset with you." And God says, "Really? Tell me." He said, "Well, I was in this house and the floodwaters were coming, and I prayed and prayed to you. I prayed and begged you to help me, and you never helped me. And here I am in heaven. I lost my life." And God looks at him and says, "Son, I sent you a policeman, a fireman in a car, and a Coast Guardsman in a helicopter. What more do you want from me?" I love that story. It kind of makes me smile. One of the things that makes me smile about it is the idea that God may have a sense of humor. The other thing is, on the more profound side, is this. You can miss miracles in life if you don't watch for them. I think whatever you believe in, whatever higher authority, a higher source of power and intelligence there is in the universe, if it does conspire to bestow gifts on you, you have to have your eyes open to see them. And it also reminds me of a little thing I put on my Facebook that a viewer helped me see by sort of quoting something that I said very casually. It's that life often sends me where I'm needed instead of where I want to go. So that is what's been on my mind this morning. Being out with Dottie and urging Dottie to do her business, which she doesn't seem to want to do this morning. I really, really like that story. And if you like it, you can alter it. Make it doesn't have to be a flood. It can be any situation where a person finds themselves in peril and other human beings come and offer assistance and rescue in all manner of different ways. And who's to say that those efforts don't have divine origins? It's certainly not for me to say. I think there's a term that I've heard used in my life called blind faith. And that's maybe strong, well-intentioned faith where you're unable to see the manifestation of that faith spread out before you in your life. And blessings don't always look like blessings in the very beginning. I used to have a mentor. His name was Kirk. And Kirk would say to me, "Rob, the worst things that ever happened to me in my life ended up being the best things that ever happened to me in my life." And I was pretty young when he said that. And I didn't really understand it at first, but I had a lot of trust and faith in him. So I paid attention over the years. And I now find myself many decades later able to say the same thing. Uncomfortable things happen. But when we look at the aftermath and what comes after, often they gave us access to things that are wonderful that we might not have had access to before. So this morning is the musings of a nomad. And here we are back. And I'm so happy that I don't have that big bulky fire pit anymore that I don't use. And over there was a big bulky grill that I was able to find new homes for. So I feel lighter. Come on, Dottie, let's go inside. And I know what you want. You want water first, then you want your breakfast. I know you very well. And excuse me, I'm gonna hard slam. Ready? And why is my chair green? Well, I was thinking that in a lot of videos I was doing, the black was messing up my when I would want to have a kind of virtual background on there. So I got the green cover for it. And I can't tell whether it's working really well or maybe I never needed it at all. But we need to go say hi to George, because you guys like seeing George. So step one will be put the light up. Step two would be move the camera to George's favorite hiding spot. Hi, George. How's the kitty? You already had your breakfast, didn't you? Excuse me? Did you have something to say? What did you want? Your breakfast? All right. I will get Dottie's breakfast. Tooth sweet here. She's a little impatient. But thanks for watching the video today. I really appreciate it. Take care, and I'll see you all. And Dottie, say goodbye, Dottie. Say goodbye. See you tomorrow.